But here's the basic, some basic examples. So if you just name the variable, or as Murak likes to do, if you use the print function, it will print out that particular dictionary. So how do you access a value? Let's take a look at that. So you notice, for example, here, um, he so-called demonstrates how Python might unilaterally rearrange things. This was not the order of the key value pairs, but this doesn't work anymore. Countries, to the best of my knowledge, countries will always uh, present itself in the order in which you enter it. Okay, so the way you access a value for any of the key value pairs is by using the key in brackets. Okay, so we can do a couple of these live because it's a string. That's why you have to put it in as a string. Countries MX. That was a string key, so you have to reflect that when you're trying to access the value. Right, it's Mexico. Note that I believe case is immaterial here. Hopefully I'm correct. No, it's not. It's case specific. So if we go back, let's go back. Yeah, we used uppercase. You got to stick to it. If you try to access something that's not there, you'll get a key error. Um, value isn't there. There's no key. Okay. So we can change things. Again, here's countries. Dictionaries are mutable. So let's say for we're going to set a value. We could do something like this. Take a look at countries now. We have set that value. What else can we do? You can check to see if a key exists. Here's the syntax to check if a key exists. You use the name of the key that you're checking with the in keyword. And so let's take a look at this on the slide. This is slide 7, I think. And let's see. So, okay, I've jazzed it up a little bit. Let's remind ourselves again what we have in countries. CA, US, Mexico, and GB. So if we run the script, it will prompt us to enter in, it'll recreate countries actually. That'll prompt us to enter in a code. Let's do this. Right. So if we enter in a code, for example, and you don't have to, when you're doing this, you're using the input statement. So you do not have to enter the code, the string code within quotation marks, because input returns a string, right? So I can just say CA, it finds CA, right? On the other hand, if I enter, right here, we're using input. And so whatever you enter will be changed into a string automatically. If I look for something that's not there, like IE, it triggers the else statement that tells you there's no country with that code. Okay, we're back in business. So we were talking about dictionaries. We just looked at this one. It uses the in keyword, checks whether the key already exists. So as to help you prevent a key error, here's the get method, right? It'll fetch or get the value that is associated with a key. If you don't want to see an error, you can set the value. Actually, if it doesn't find the value, what it will do is it will say none. It won't give you an error, but you can change that return to anything you want using the default value. So this is another way to access an item, the get method. The advantage of the get method is it does not raise a key error if the key doesn't exist. Instead, by default, the get method returns a value of none if the key doesn't exist. Okay, but as I mentioned, you can change the return value to whatever you want by putting something into that default optional default value. Here's the syntax for item. And here we have this on, we have it on script. You can use the DEL keyword right here in conjunction with the dictionary name and the value of the key. In this example, here, let's try this. I have this on a slide somewhere. Way down here. And this is much like the other slide, the other script that I set up where you have to enter something. So we run this and it tells us what's in the country's dictionary at the moment. If I want to delete something and I enter, for example, IE, and it's not there, it will tell me. On the other hand, if I enter something that is there, QS tells me what was deleted. And if I double check by saying, show me countries now, sure enough, it's gone. Okay, so the point of these slides is to get around generating a key error by checking if the key exists before you try and delete something. Okay, there are at least two dictionary methods for deleting an item. Similar with the lists methods, you can use pop or you can use clear. So pop returns the value of the specified key and deletes the key value pair from the dictionary. The optional second argument is a value to return if the key doesn't exist, like we saw before. Clear deletes all items. Okay, so let's try a couple of these. And I guess I could do these manually. If we say what those countries look like at the moment. Oh, we see it right there. And I call, again, because it's a method specific to list items, the way you call a method is by typing the name of the list and then the method itself, which is pop. And we're going to pop CA. And now, of course, we have to put the key in a string, in strings, in quotation marks, because otherwise you'll get an error. So if I do this, notice pop has that peculiar action. It's not peculiar, but it really does two things. It removes the item, but it also returns the value. Not all methods do that. So we popped off Canada, and if we try to confirm, sure enough, Canada's gone. What else can we do? Let's see. We could be really destructive and use the clear method. And doesn't return anything, but when we go back around and look, it's an empty dictionary. There's still a dictionary called countries, but all of the key value pairs have been removed. That's what clear does. Okay. So which should you use? Well, pretty clearly, if you want to remove just certain items, you use pop. If you want to remove them all, you can use clear. Okay. What else can you do? You have different methods for getting all keys and values. You can see here. Keys, the keys method returns a view object that contains all of the keys in the dictionary. This is the default iterator for a dictionary. Items returns a view object that contains a tuple for each key value pair in the dictionary. And values returns a view object that contains all of the values in the dictionary. A view object is a class of items that is an iterator that allows you to use a loop to iterate through the values contained in the object. Let's take a look here at some scripts. I think I just cleared countries out completely, so let's see if we can fix that.